The soft hum of the Ethelred station was Ilara's oldest lullaby. It was a sound woven into the very fabric of her existence, a deep, resonant thrum that vibrated through the synth steel floors and whispered through the recycled air vents. Outside her holographic window, which usually shimmered with a comforting, pre-programmed nebula display, tonight the real, unadorned blackness of space stretched, punctuated by the cold, sharp diamonds of distant stars. The Ethelred was a vast, rotating torus, a silver bracelet flung into the cosmic void, and Ilara, 9 years old, had never known another home. Her room was a cozy, circular nook, perfectly designed for a child in a zero-G simulated environment. Magnetic strips held her plush, synth fabric star creatures to the wall, mimicking gravity. A small spherical drone, Lumina, floated near her bed, its single optical sensor glowing a gentle blue. Lumina was Ilara's constant companion, a gift from her parents, programmed with an extensive database of bedtime stories, lullabies, and, most importantly, the ability to project comforting light patterns on the ceiling. "Bedtime routine, Ilara," Lumina chirped, its voice a synthesized whisper that always made Ilara feel a little less alone. Dental hygiene scan initiated. Ilara sighed, a small, dramatic puff of air. "Do I have to? I brushed them after nutrient paste." "Affirmative," Lumina replied, unwavering. "Standard operating procedure for optimal oral health." With another sigh, Ilara floated gracefully across the room, her anti-grav slippers making soft thwip-thwip-thwip sounds against the floor. She used the sonic floss and nutrient rinse, then slipped into her sleep suit, a soft, temperature-regulating garment that felt like a second skin. Lumina, ever efficient, began to gather her scattered datapads and holographic projectors, neatly arranging them on her bedside console. A familiar ache settled in Ilara's chest as she watched Lumina. It wasn't sadness, not exactly, but a soft, persistent yearning. Her parents, Dr. Aris and Dr. Lyra Vance, were stellar cartographers, pioneers of the deep void. Their missions often took them weeks, sometimes months, beyond the Ethelred's reach, exploring nascent nebulae and charting the shifting pathways of asteroid fields. They loved her, she knew, with a love as vast as the cosmos they explored, but their work called to them with an even more insistent voice. "Lumina," Ilara whispered, already tucked into her synth silk covers, the faint smell of ozonated rain from the recycled air system, a comforting scent. "Are Mama and Papa on the Alpha 7 trajectory tonight?" Lumina's blue eye flickered. "Negative, Ilara. Your parents are currently in the Seraphim cluster, conducting spectral analysis of the Exilos 4 binary system. Communication window opens in approximately 0.08 standard cycles." Ilara nodded, though the information didn't truly comfort her. The Seraphim cluster was far, far away. Too far for even a quick comm burst to feel truly immediate. She reached under her pillow, her fingers closing around a smooth, cool object. It was her most prized possession, a gift from her mother just before their last deep space departure. "Stardust, slumberlink, activate," she murmured, holding the object aloft. The Stardust slumberlink was a palm-sized stone, perfectly oval, its surface an iridescent swirl of deep blues, purples and shimmering silvers. It looked like a miniature galaxy captured in crystal. Her mother had called it a memory anchor, and a light pathfinder. Unlike the station's generic dream projectors, the slumberlink was attuned to Ilara's own neural patterns, capable of weaving immersive dreamscapes from her deepest memories. Her parents recorded journey logs, or sometimes, something entirely new. It wasn't just a device, it felt like a living thing, a piece of the cosmos itself. As she spoke the activation phrase, the stone pulsed with a soft internal light, the iridescent swirls deepening and shifting. A gentle warmth spread from her hand, up her arm, and into her mind. The light from the slumberlink filled her room, not blinding, but soft and enveloping, pushing back the shadows. Lumina dimmed its own light, its blue eye watching with silent reverence. Usually, the slumberlink would conjure a memory, the warmth of her mother's hand as they walked through the Ethelred's arboretum, the thrill of her father explaining the mechanics of a warp drive, or the vivid colors of a planetary sunrise from one of their past family voyages. But tonight, as the light intensified, Elara felt something different. A subtle shift, like a door opening to a place she'd never consciously accessed. The walls of her room dissolved, not fading, but transforming. The familiar hum of the Ethelred receded, replaced by a profound, echoing silence, yet a silence that was full of subtle energy. She was no longer in her bed, but floating, suspended in an endless, shimmering field. It was not the cold, star-dusted blackness outside her holographic window, but a living, breathing expanse of cosmic dust. Colors she had no names for swirled around her. Ambers that tasted of ancient sunlight, violets that hummed with forgotten songs, greens that pulsed with the promise of new life. The dust wasn't static, it moved like a slow-motion ocean, currents of pure light flowing past her, tickling her ethereal form. She felt weightless, truly weightless. Not the artificial gravity of the station, nor the gentle lift of her anti-grav slippers, but the boundless, exhilarating freedom of being utterly unbound. It was as if her very being had dissolved into the stardust itself, becoming part of its grand cosmic dance. This was the Stardust SL, she realized, the slumber link showing her an actual place, a phenomenon her mother had sometimes spoken of in hushed, reverent tones. The slumbering fields, vast nebula where star stuff gathered in silent, drifting clouds, waiting for the spark of creation. But this wasn't just a passive observation, she was in it. She could feel the gentle pull of its currents, the subtle warmth of its myriad particles. As she drifted deeper into the luminous sea, a new sight emerged, not from the swirling dust, but within it. It wasn't a ship, or a comet, or any celestial body she knew from her parents' datapads. It was a creature of light, pure energy given form. It moved with an impossible grace, its long flowing tendrils rippling through the stardust as if it were water. Its body pulsed with a soft inner luminescence, shifting from pearlescent white to a deep cosmic gold. It had no discernible face, no eyes or mouth, yet Elara felt an overwhelming sense of ancient wisdom radiating from it. It swam towards her, or perhaps she swam towards it, the distinction blurring in this ethereal realm. As it drew closer, it emitted a low, resonant hum. A sound that she felt not with her ears, but in her very bones, a vibration that resonated with the deepest parts of her soul. It was a sound of peace, of knowing, of boundless age. The light creature seemed to beckon her, not with a gesture, but with a subtle shift in its luminous form, a silent invitation to follow. Without hesitation, Elara followed, drawn by an instinct she couldn't explain. The creature led her deeper into the Stardust SL, past rivers of glittering particles, through clouds of rainbow-hued gases that brushed against her, leaving trails of wonder. It showed her wonders that defied description. A nebula that bloomed like a cosmic flower, petals of gas and dust unfurling in slow, majestic motion, each layer a different shade of impossible beauty. A binary star system, two suns dancing a furious eternal waltz, their gravity pulling at the stardust, shaping it into intricate patterns. Planets with impossible hues, some shimmering with liquid light, others veiled in swirling storms of pure color, each one a jewel in the cosmic tapestry. With each new sight, Elara felt a profound sense of connection, a realization that she was part of something infinitely grander than the Ethelred station, grander even than the charted sectors her parents explored. The loneliness that often settled in her heart on the station dissolved, replaced by a feeling of belonging to this vast, living universe. The light creature was her guide, her silent companion, a guardian of these ethereal realms. It imparted knowledge not through words, but through shared experience, through the sheer, overwhelming beauty of the cosmos. There was a moment, as they drifted past a cluster of nascent stars, still burning with the raw fire of creation, when the light creature paused. Its luminescence intensified, and its tendrils seemed to gather the surrounding stardust, shaping it, for a fleeting instant, into a faint, intricate pattern. It was a constellation, but not one Elara recognized from her star charts. It was a cluster of 7 stars, arranged in a distinctive, almost symmetrical spiral, and at its heart a single brighter point, pulsating with a gentle, inviting glow. The creature seemed to point towards this specific cluster, then towards Elara, and then back to the cluster. A message, unspoken but clear, resonated within her. This is a place. This is a destination. Yay, a destination for, yeah? The thought thrilled her, a spark of adventure igniting deep within her spirit. This wasn't a memory from her parents' voyages. This was something entirely new, a secret whispered to her by the universe itself. The vision began to fade, slowly, like the dawn breaking over a distant world. The vibrant colors of the Stardust, SL softened. The resonant hum of the light creature grew fainter. Elara felt a gentle tug, pulling her back, away from the boundless freedom and towards the familiar confines of her room. She yearned to stay, to follow the light creature deeper into the cosmic sea, to discover the secret of the 7-star spiral. Then, with a soft clicking, the slumber link's light dimmed, and the shimmering cosmic ocean dissolved back into the familiar walls of her circular room. Lumina's blue eye brightened again, a silent question in its gaze. The holographic window once more displayed the stable, distant view of stars from the Red station, steadfast and unchanging. Elara lay still, her heart still thrumming with the echoes of the light creature's song. The image of the Stardust field, the impossible colors, and especially the distinct 7-star spiral, lingered in her mind with vivid clarity. It felt too real to be just a dream, too specific to be a random projection. It felt like a promise. She reached out and gently stroked the cool, iridescent surface of the Stardust slumber link. Her parents often spoke of uncharted wonders, but this felt different. This felt like a calling, a secret whispered just to her. She snuggled deeper into her synth silk covers, the steady hum of the Red station, now a distant counterpoint to the cosmic symphony, still playing in her memory. Her eyes closed, but her mind was far away, swimming in stardust, charting a course to a place she had never seen, but knew, with an unshakable certainty, was waiting for her. The morning light, filtered through the Red station's atmospheric processors, painted shimmering patterns on Elara's wall. But it wasn't the station's gentle pulse that woke her. It was the echo of the cosmic symphony, a phantom vibration in her bones, a persistent whisper that felt less like a memory and more like an instruction. The Stardust slumber link, designed for tranquil dreams, had instead given her a destination. She sat up, her synth silk covers pooling around her, a strange new energy thrumming beneath her skin. The coordinates, a string of luminescent glyphs, were burned into her mind's eye, clearer than any lesson from her holographic tutor. She knew, with the certainty only a child can possess, that she had to find that place. Her personal datapad, a sleek, palm-sized device, hummed to life at her touch. "Good morning, Elara," chirped its integrated AI, a cheerful, synthesized voice she'd named Aura. "Your schedule for today includes a gravitational physics module and a 0G ballet practice." "Cancel all," Elara commanded, her voice firm, surprising even herself. "Aura, access deep space archives. Cross-reference these coordinates." She mentally projected the glyphs, watching them appear as shimmering script on the datapad's screen. Aura paused, a beat of digital silence. "These coordinates are unusual, Elara. They point to a region designated Void Sector Gamma 9, a theorized highly unstable nexus of dark matter and nascent energy, far beyond current exploration parameters. There are no star charts, no known celestial bodies, and certainly no established routes. The data is largely theoretical, based on long-range gravitational anomalies detected centuries ago." "Uncharted wonders," Elara murmured, the phrase her parents used now taking on a tangible form. "Show me everything. Any visual simulations, even theoretical ones." Aura projected a swirling, indistinct image, a vast, nebulous expanse, shot through with faint, iridescent tendrils of light, like a cosmic jellyfish blooming in the void. It wasn't the clear, vibrant vista she'd experienced through the slumber link, but it was enough. It was ithering. A wave of determination, cold and exhilarating, washed over her. Her parents, brilliant xenobotanists, were currently overseeing the terraforming of a new agricultural moon in the Kepler system. They wouldn't be back for cycles. This was her chance. The Aethelred station was a colossal marvel of engineering, a self-sustaining city in space. But beneath its gleaming promenades and hydroponic gardens lay the industrial heart. Elara, being the child of prominent station scientists, had access to many restricted areas, often accompanying her parents on their research excursions. She knew the labyrinthine corridors like the back of her hand, the quiet hum of dormant engines, the scent of ozone and recycled air. She spent the next few days in a blur of focused activity. Instead of her usual recreation time in the zero-G chambers, she was in the station's advanced flight simulator, pushing its capabilities, testing hypothetical routes through Void Sector Gamma 9, running risk assessments that always came back with alarming probabilities of spatial distortion or structural integrity failure. Aura, programmed to assist, not question, became her unwitting accomplice, running calculations, accessing flight manuals for small survey craft, and even simulating emergency procedures. Elara, Aura finally interjected, her voice tinged with a programmed note of concern after a particularly catastrophic simulated event. The probability of successful navigation through Void Sector Gamma 9 with a standard survey vessel is 0.000. The energy fluctuations alone could disintegrate a typical hull. What? Elara ignored her. She wasn't planning on taking a typical hull. She remembered an old, disused experimental craft, tucked away in an obscure, rarely visited hangar bay on the lower decks. The Whisperwinding. It was designed for deep space atmospheric sampling and had an experimental phase shielding system, rumored to be able to withstand micro-wormholes. Her father had once joked about its cosmic resilience. That night, under the guise of an independent study project, Elara snuck into the hangar. The Whisperwinding sat dormant, a sleek needle-nosed vessel with scuffed grey plating, looking like a forgotten relic. Its cockpit was dusty, the controls archaic compared to the station's holographic interfaces. But it felt right. It felt like Eher's Caninias. She spent hours in the Whisperwinding, meticulously cleaning, checking systems and interfacing her datapad with its ancient navigation computer. Aura, now fully integrated into the ship's systems, started providing real-time diagnostic reports. Warning: fuel cells at 37% capacity, Aura reported. Life support consumables for 72 hours. Auxiliary power core offline. Phase shielding system requires manual recalibration. Can you do it? Elara asked, her fingers tracing the worn contours of the ship's control stick. With your authorization and provided I can access the ship's antiquated schematic database, I estimate a 68% chance of bringing the core online and recalibrating the shields. Fuel will be problematic. Elara thought fast. There's a restricted fuel depot in Sector 7 for long-range science vessels. My father has access codes. Can you replicate them? Aura processed this. Accessing parental biometric data from your datapad. Cross-referencing, replicating access signature. Yes, Elara. But this constitutes unauthorized appropriation of station resources. It's for science, Aura, Elara declared, echoing her father's favorite phrase. Uncharted wonders. The next few days were a whirlwind of clandestine preparations. Elara borrowed energy cells, life support canisters, and nutrient-paced rations from station stores. She spent every available moment in the Whisperwinding, learning its quirks, its ancient digital language. Aura, now fully invested in the mission, guided her through the recalibration of the phase shields, the reactivation of the auxiliary power core, and the delicate process of siphoning fuel from the restricted depot, a daring maneuver that required her to physically connect the Whisperwinding's fuel lines to the station's main supply while Aura spoofed the station's inventory systems. On the eve of her departure, Elara penned a note to her parents, a single line on a holographic message cube, following the stars. Uncharted wonders await. I'll be back. She left it on her pillow, a beacon in her empty room. The launch was not a grand affair. No cheering crowds, no flashing lights. Just the soft whir of the Whisperwinding's thrusters coming online, the shudder of the hangar bay doors sliding open, and Ilara's own heart thumping a frantic rhythm against her ribs. She was small in the pilot's seat, but her gaze was fixed, steady, on the star-dusted opening ahead. "All systems green, Ilara," Aura announced, her voice now emanating from the ship's comms, crisp and clear. "Gravity lock disengaged. Prepare for launch." Ilara took a deep breath, her small hands gripping the controls. "Engage thrusters, full power." The whisper winding surged forward, a silent grey arrow slicing through the vacuum. The station lights dwindled behind her, a glittering jewel receding into the inky blackness. For a moment, a pang of loneliness, sharp and sudden, pierced her resolve. She was just a child, alone in the vast, unforgiving ocean of space. But then the memory of the slumber link returned, the cosmic symphony, the vibrant living stardust, and the loneliness receded, replaced by an invigorating surge of purpose. This wasn't just a journey, it was a homecoming she hadn't known she was missing. The journey through charted space was swift. Ilara engaged the Whisperwind's warp drive, the stars stretching into long shimmering streaks as the ship accelerated beyond light speed. Aura kept her updated on the ship's status, projecting star charts onto the cockpit's panoramic view screen. Ilara watched, mesmerized, as familiar constellations warped and twisted, then dissolved into the cosmic blur. When they reached the edge of charted space, the warp drive disengaged with a gentle lurch. Ahead lay the true unknown. Void Sector Gamma 9. The view outside was breathtaking and terrifying. The stars were sparse here, mere pinpricks in an overwhelming darkness. But in the distance, just as Aura's simulations had predicted, a faint, shifting luminescence began to resolve. It wasn't a nebula in the traditional sense, nor a galaxy. It was a vast, amorphous cloud, pulsing with internal light, like a colossal, living heart. The colors were unlike anything Ilara had ever seen. Deep indigos shifting to electric violets, shot through with veins of emerald and gold, all swirling in a slow, majestic dance. "Energy readings are escalating, Ilara," Aura warned, her voice now layered with static. "Spatial distortion fields detected. Phase shielding is active, but showing strain." Ilara's hands tightened on the controls. The Whisperwinding began to shudder, not from engine strain, but from the very fabric of space around them. The viewscreen rippled, stars elongating, then snapping back into place. "It's beautiful," Ilara whispered, awe overcoming fear. The cosmic symphony, which had faded during the warp jump, now swelled, a silent, resonant hum that vibrated through the ship's hull and into her very being. As they drew closer, the cloud began to resolve into something more complex. It wasn't just gas and dust. Within the swirling colors, Ilara could discern faint, intricate structures, like the branches of an immense ethereal tree or the delicate filigree of a cosmic snowflake, each strand glowing with its own internal light. Tiny motes of pure starlight, like fireflies, danced between the structures, coalescing and dissipating in a perpetual ballet. "Gravitational anomalies detected," Aura reported, her voice clearer now, but with an underlying tone of wonder. "Readings indicate a stable, localized space-time bubble within the core of the anomaly. The energy signature is unlike anything in our database, Ilara. It's harmonic." Harmonic. The word resonated with Ilara. That was it. The cosmic symphony. The Whisperwinding drifted closer, pulled by an invisible, gentle current. The phase shields hummed, deflecting minute particles of glowing energy that brushed against the hull. The light grew, bathing the cockpit in an otherworldly glow, painting Ilara's face in shifting hues of violet and gold. And then, through the swirling tapestry of light and energy, she saw it. Not a planet, not a station, but a gateway. A colossal, shimmering archway, formed from the very fabric of the glowing cloud, its surface appearing fluid and crystalline at once. It pulsed with a rhythmic light, inviting, mysterious. It was the source of the persistent hum, the heart of the cosmic symphony. "Ilara," Aura's voice was barely a whisper. "Readings indicate the gateway is stable. It appears to be an entrance to somewhere else." Ilara didn't need Aura to tell her. She felt it, deep in her soul. This was the uncharted wonder. This was the place the slumberlink had shown her, the secret whispered just to her. With a final, resolute breath, she guided the Ye-Whisper Winding towards the shimmering archway, her small ship dwarfed by its immense scale, ready to step through the veil into a world beyond her wildest dreams. The shimmering archway enveloped the Ye-Whisper Winding, with a sigh of pure light. Elara felt a strange sensation, not of motion, but of fundamental change. It was as if the universe itself was being unstitched and rewoven around her. Colors she had never seen before bloomed and faded, vibrant whispers of magenta, electric cyan, and a deep, resonant gold swirling into an impossible tapestry. Time seemed to stretch, then snap, a rubber band released, and for a fleeting moment, she felt utterly unbound, a spirit adrift in the raw fabric of creation. Then, just as abruptly, it ceased. The colors coalesced, the sensation of unmaking vanished, and the Ye-Whisper Winding drifted silently. Elara blinked, her eyes struggling to process the impossible vista before her. This was not space as she knew it. There were no familiar constellations, no distant, pinprick galaxies. Instead, the sky was a vast, iridescent canvas, painted with nebulous currents of light that pulsed with a gentle, rhythmic beat. Giant, crystalline structures, like cosmic cathedrals carved from pure thought, floated in the distance, their facets catching and refracting the ambient light into rainbows that stretched for light years. Some seemed to be growing, tendrils of pure energy extending from their surfaces, weaving intricate patterns through the luminous currents. Elara! Aura's voice was a hushed exhalation, devoid of its usual clinical precision. Readings are incomprehensible. The gateway has closed behind us. We are in a localized pocket of reality. Energy signatures are off the charts, yet entirely stable. Gravimetric forces are negligible. Atmosphere, non-detectable. Yet the ship's life support indicates optimal conditions. It's beautiful. Elara could only nod, her breath catching in her throat. Aura, the AI designed for logic and data, was experiencing awe. That alone spoke volumes. It's more than beautiful, Aura. It's alive. The Whisper Winding, a tiny speck in this magnificent expanse, felt both utterly insignificant and profoundly privileged. Elara reached out, her fingers pressing against the viewport, as if she could touch the ethereal currents beyond. The slumberlink had shown her glimpses, fragmented dreams of light and wonder. This was the heart of the dream, the place where reality bent to accommodate pure imagination. She guided the ship forward, a gentle nudge of the controls. The Ye-Whisper Winding glided through the luminous currents, which parted for her as if sensing her presence. They shimmered around the hull, leaving trails of microscopic, glittering motes that danced in her wake. There was no sense of speed, no resistance, just a serene passage through the unimaginable. Scans indicate a central nexus, Aura whispered, her voice still tinged with wonder. Approximately 100,000 kilometers ahead, it appears to be the source of the primary energy emissions in this region. Massive non-Euclidean geometry, composed of light and sound. Elara squinted. In the distance, a colossal structure began to resolve itself. It wasn't a planet, nor a star, nor a nebula. It was a swirling vortex of vibrant light, constantly shifting and reforming. At its core, a blinding white light pulsed, like a cosmic heart, sending ripples of energy outward. Around this core, intricate filigrees of color danced, weaving themselves into shapes that defied earthly geometry, impossible spirals, interlocking tetrahedrons that spun without apparent support, and vast flowing tapestries of light that seemed to hum with silent music. Non-Euclidean? Elara murmured, her mind struggling to grasp the concept. What does that mean? It means its dimensions don't conform to our understanding of space, Aura explained, a hint of her analytical self returning, though softened by the ongoing awe. It appears to be larger on the inside than the outside, or perhaps its inner structure exists in a dimension we cannot perceive directly, only infer from its visible projections. As they drew closer, the silent music Aura had detected began to resolve into something Elara could almost hear, not with her ears, but with her very being. It was a symphony of light and vibration, a harmonious chorus of deep, resonant hums and high, crystalline chimes. It felt like the universe singing to itself, a lullaby of creation. The whisper winding vibrated ever so slightly in response, a sympathetic resonance with the cosmic melody. The central nexus was unbelievably vast, dwarfing even the largest gas giants Ilara had ever seen. It was a living, breathing entity of pure energy and light, a heart at the center of this pocket universe. Tendrils of light, like luminous veins, extended from its core, connecting to the crystalline structures in the distance, and even to the shimmering currents Ilara had first noticed. It was all one interconnected organism, a grand cosmic tapestry woven from energy and intention. "It's pulling us," Ilara said, noticing the whisper wind and drifting steadily towards the nexus, even without her input. "Gently, but firmly." "Affirmative," Aura confirmed. "A localized gravimetric anomaly, but of a positive, guiding nature. It feels intentional." Intentional. The word sent a shiver down Ilara's spine, but it wasn't a shiver of fear. It was a thrill of discovery, a recognition of purpose. The slumber link had shown her this place, whispered its secrets. Now, the place itself was reaching out, calling her closer. They entered the outer fringes of the nexus, where the light tendrils were thinner and more dispersed. They weren't solid, Ilara realized, but more like intricate energy pathways. The whisper winding passed through them effortlessly, the light washing over the hull like warm water. Inside, the colors deepened, becoming richer, more profound. The air inside the ship seemed to hum, and Ilara felt a profound sense of peace settle over her. A calm she hadn't known since she was a child dreaming beneath the pale glow of her bedside star projector. "Ilara," Aura said, her voice softer now, almost a whisper. "The energy readings are stabilizing around the ship. It's as if the nexus is adapting to our presence, and I'm detecting faint, coherent patterns within the vibrational frequencies. They're not language, not as we understand it, but they're structured. They're telling a story." "A story?" Ilara breathed, her eyes wide, mesmerized by the unfolding spectacle. They were now so close that the individual threads of light were resolving into impossibly thin, luminous filaments, each one pulsing with its own unique hue. Some were like strands of spun gold, others like liquid sapphire or shimmering emerald. They wove together, constantly changing, creating flowing images within the light. "Yes," Aura confirmed. "A narrative, of creation, of growth, of connection. It speaks of the genesis of this realm, and of its purpose." Ilara leaned closer to the viewport, her hand pressed flat against the cool surface. She watched as the filaments of light swirled and converged, forming fleeting images within the luminous fog. She saw what looked like miniature galaxies forming and dissipating, stars being born and dying in a heartbeat. She saw vast crystalline cities rising from luminous plains, only to dissolve back into pure energy. It was a dance of creation and destruction, a cosmic ballet playing out before her very eyes. "What is its purpose, Aura?" she asked, her voice barely audible above the silent symphony. There was a moment of silence from Aura, a rare pause that spoke volumes. "It is a conduit, Ilara, a nexus of pure creation. It funnels universal energy, shaping it, refining it. It appears to be a living forge for dreams, for possibilities. A living forge for dreams." The words resonated deep within Ilara's soul. This was it. This was what the slumber link had hinted at, the secret she'd been destined to find. This was where the universe's most precious ingredients, imagination, hope, longing, were brought to life. The whisper winding continued its slow, deliberate drift, deeper into the heart of the nexus. The light grew brighter, warmer, embracing Ilara like a gentle, loving touch. She felt a profound sense of belonging, as if every fiber of her being had been yearning for this place. The loneliness that had sometimes clung to her, a faint echo of her solitary existence, melted away, replaced by an overwhelming feeling of interconnectedness. She saw shapes now within the light that were more defined. Not just abstract patterns but fleeting images of beings. They weren't solid, not really, but formed from the luminous filaments, shimmering, ethereal forms. Some looked like great, winged creatures of light, others like serene humanoid figures composed entirely of starlight. They moved with grace and purpose, tending to the swirling energies, like gardeners cultivating a cosmic garden. "Are those living beings, Aura?" Elara whispered, awestruck. "They appear to be," Aura replied, her voice filled with a reverence Elara had never heard. "Energy constructs, highly complex and sentient, they seem to be." One of the luminous figures, taller and more intricate than the others, detached itself from a swirling current of gold and silver. It drifted slowly towards the Imispawinding, its form resolving into something vaguely humanoid, but with no discernible features beyond the gentle glow that emanated from its core. It had long flowing tendrils of light that seemed to be its limbs, and its head was a brighter, pulsating sphere. It stopped a short distance from the viewport, hovering silently. Elara held her breath, not daring to move. There was no sense of threat, only an immense, ancient wisdom radiating from the being. It was pure light, pure intention. Then, a thought, clear as a bell, formed in Elara's mind. It wasn't spoken, not aloud, but it was there, a gentle touch on her consciousness. "Welcome, Dreamseeker, Dao Che." Elara gasped, a involuntary involuntary sound. "Aura, did you?" "I registered a non-verbal communication," Aura confirmed, her voice a low hum. "A direct neural interface. It is addressing you, Elara. You have journeyed far. You have listened to the whispers of the slumberling. You have found the heart of possibility." In. Tears welled in Elara's eyes, hot and unexpected. This was it. This was confirmation. Her whole life, her secret dreams, her daring journey, it had all led her here. "What is this place?" she thought, directing her question towards the being of light. "What do you do?" The luminous being pulsed gently, and the answer flowed into her mind, a cascade of understanding. "We are the Weaver Lights. This realm is the loom of dreams. We gather the fragmented hopes, the nascent ideas, the purest intentions from across the cosmos, and here, we help them coalesce. We give them form. We prepare them for their journey into existence." Where? Elara felt a profound connection to the Weaver Light, a sense of kinship she'd never experienced. It was as if her own dreams, her own longings, were recognized and understood here, at the fundamental level of the universe. "My dreams," she thought, "the ones the Slumberlink showed me. Were they woven here?" "Indeed, Dreamseeker. Your dreams were threads we observed, patterns we nurtured. They guided you. Just as you are now guided to us, so too will you be guided to the next step of your journey." Ani. The Weaver Light extended one of its luminous tendrils. It didn't physically touch the Imispawinding, but its light enveloped the ship, a soft, warm embrace. Elara felt a surge of energy, not electrical but vital, flowing through her. She felt stronger, clearer, more connected than ever before. It was as if her very being was being attuned to the symphony of the loom of dreams. "The ship's energy conduits are being recharged," Aura noted, her voice still hushed. "Beyond maximum capacity, Elara, and its structural integrity is being enhanced. It feels as though the Whisperwinding is being infused with the very essence of this realm." Elara looked down at her hands, which tingled with a gentle warmth. She felt different, lighter, more attuned to the subtle energies around her. The Slumberlink had always been a passive connection, a window to possibilities. Now, she felt like an active participant, a part of the grand design. "You have a role to play, Dreamseeker. A new dream is waiting to be born. One that requires a gentle hand, a courageous heart." And the Weaver Light began to recede, its light shimmering, beckoning Elara deeper into the nexus. The vibrant heart of the loom of dreams pulsed with an inviting rhythm, radiating a warmth that filled the Whisperwinding. "It's indicating a path," Aura observed, "towards the central core, a chamber of sorts. It seems to be inviting us in." Elara didn't hesitate. The fear, if it had ever been there, was completely gone, replaced by an unshakable sense of destiny. She trusted this place, she trusted the Weaver Lights, and most importantly, She trusted the whisper of her own soul that had led her here. She guided the whisper winding forward, deeper into the pulsating heart of the nexus. The luminous filaments grew denser, forming a tunnel of pure, shifting light. The symphony of the loom intensified, now a powerful, harmonious roar that resonated through her bones, yet it was not overwhelming, but deeply comforting. They emerged into a vast, spherical chamber of pure, radiant light. There were no walls, no ceiling, just an infinite expanse of shimmering, pearlescent glow. In the very center of the chamber, suspended in the light, was a single, impossibly delicate object. It was a sphere, about the size of Ilara's head, but it wasn't solid. It was made of swirling nebular stardust, constantly shifting and reforming. Within its depths, Ilara could see miniature galaxies blooming, tiny planets orbiting minuscule suns, and faint ethereal wisps that looked like embryonic life. It hummed with a soft melodic vibration, radiating a gentle warmth that permeated the entire chamber. "A proto-universe," Aura breathed, her voice filled with an almost reverent awe. "A nascent reality. It's a universe in its infancy, Ilara, waiting to be born. This is the new dream." The Weaver Light's voice echoed in Ilara's mind. Though the being itself was no longer visible, its presence now diffused through the ambient light of the chamber. It carries the echoes of a forgotten world, a lost civilization, waiting for its next chapter. It needs a gentle touch, a guiding presence, to help it awaken fully. Gideonin. Ilara felt a profound connection to the tiny, swirling universe. She could feel its potential, its fragility, its immense promise. It was like looking at a sleeping child, filled with untold possibilities. "What do you want me to do?" Ilara asked, her voice barely a whisper, her eyes fixed on the proto-universe. "Observe. Connect, Dill. Impart." Her thoughts flowed into her mind. "Your touch, your dreams, your compassionate heart, these are the catalysts it needs. Lend your essence, your hope, to its nascent core. Help it remember the beauty it once held, and inspire the wonders it has yet to create." Ilara felt an urge, an instinct, to reach out. The whisper winding drifted closer to the proto-universe, until it was directly before the main viewport. Ilara unbuckled herself from her pilot's chair, her movements slow and deliberate. She walked to the viewport, her hand trembling slightly as she reached out, pressing her palm against the cool, transparent surface. As her hand made contact, a soft golden light pulsed from the proto-universe, flowing into her, then back out, connecting them in a delicate, shimmering bridge. Ilara closed her eyes, and a cascade of images, not her own, but belonging to the nascent universe, flooded her mind. She saw lush green worlds teeming with vibrant, alien life. She saw cities of crystal and light, built by beings of gentle wisdom. She saw vast libraries filled with knowledge, and concert halls echoing with harmonious music. She saw families laughing beneath twin suns, and explorers charting nebulae in ships of living wood. It was a civilization of profound peace and beauty, a tapestry of existence woven with care and joy. But then, the images shifted. Shadows began to creep into the light. Discordant notes entered the symphony. The crystal cities cracked, the lush worlds withered, the laughter faded. A great sorrow washed over Ilara, a sense of loss so profound it brought tears to her eyes. This universe, this civilization, had faced a challenge, a darkness that threatened to consume its light. It was not evil, not destruction, but a forgetting, a fading of its own essence. And now, here it was, given a second chance, a new beginning, held in the heart of the loom of dreams. When Ilara opened her eyes, the golden light still pulsed between her hand and the proto-universe. She felt a deep, unwavering sense of purpose. She had been called here not just to witness wonder, but to participate in its rebirth. "I understand," she whispered, her voice firm, resolute. "I will help it remember. I will help it dream again." The proto-universe pulsed brighter, as if in response, and the soft hum it emitted deepened, filled with a newfound resonance. Ilara knew, with absolute certainty, that her journey was far from over. This was just the beginning of her true task, the next chapter in the universe's grand story, And she, Elara, the lonely pilot of the Whisper Winden, was ready to turn the page. The stars, once distant pinpricks of light, now felt like old friends, and the universe, a vast unknowable expanse, now felt like home. She had found her purpose, and it was as boundless and beautiful as the dream she now held in her heart. The universe, once a symphony of distant whispers, now played a clear, resonant melody just for her. Elara leaned back in the pilot's chair, a hum of contentment settling deep within her bones, mirroring the soft thrum of the Yin Whisper Winding's newly responsive core. The ship, her silent companion for so long, felt different now, more alive, a true extension of her will and her newfound purpose. Her fingers, light as stardust, drifted over the console. The star map, usually a rigid grid of known routes and charted systems, shimmered with a delicate ethereal filigree. This was the resonance, rendered visible, a swirling tapestry of golden threads interwoven with silver light, emanating from a point far beyond the charted regions, deep within the unexplored expanse of the outer reaches. It wasn't a destination, not exactly, but a current, a gentle cosmic river, calling her home. "All right, old friend," she murmured, stroking a polished panel. "Looks like we have a new bearing." The Yi Whisper Winding seemed to sigh in agreement, the engines shifting into a softer, more focused hum. Elara initiated the jump sequence, not to a pre-programmed coordinate, but to a calculated vector guided by the shimmering threads. This was navigation by intuition, by feeling, by a deep-seated knowing that transcended algorithms. The familiar kaleidoscope of hyperspace flared around them, but this time, it was imbued with a warmth, a sense of rightness, that she had never experienced before. Each star streak seemed to whisper secrets, each swirling nebula a promise. When they emerged, it was into a vista that stole her breath. They were not in an empty void, but at the edge of a colossal cosmic cloud, unlike any she had ever studied. It wasn't a nebula of dust and gas, but of pure shimmering light. Pulsating tendrils of iridescent energy, like living aurorae, danced and intertwined, painting the blackness with strokes of emerald, sapphire and amethyst. This was the Starweaver's path, a legend among the few independent cartographers who dared to venture beyond the established lanes. A region said to be woven from the very fabric of nascent stars, where light itself held memory and intention. "Incredible," Elara breathed, her face illuminated by the celestial spectacle. The Yi Whisper Winding's external sensors, usually meticulous in their data acquisition, were overwhelmed, reporting only unquantifiable energy signatures and resonance saturation. But Elara didn't need the sensors. She felt it, a profound harmonic vibration that permeated the ship, her skin, her very soul. It was the same resonance, magnified 1,000-fold. As they edged deeper into the glowing cloud, the Yi Whisper Winding moved with an uncanny grace, almost as if guided by an unseen hand. The light wasn't blinding. Instead, it was soft, diffuse, like being cradled within a cosmic pearl. Strange, crystalline structures, translucent and humming with faint internal light, drifted by, some as large as small moons, others no bigger than her hand. They weren't asteroids. They seemed to be growing, slowly, organically, absorbing the ambient light and radiating their own gentle glow. One such crystal, a magnificent polyhedron shimmering with all the colors of the rainbow, drifted directly into their path. Elara instinctively tried to maneuver around it, but the Yi Whisper Winding held steady. A wave of gentle energy washed over the ship, and the crystal, instead of colliding, seemed to inflow around them, its facets momentarily aligning with the Sholing Whisper Winding's hull, creating a brief, dazzling burst of synchronized light. When it passed, a faint, lingering warmth remained on the ship's outer plating, and Elara felt a subtle shift within the Yi Whisper Winding's internal systems, a whisper of newly unlocked potential. It was as if the crystal had shared a piece of its own light-weaving nature with her ship. She spent days navigating the Starweaver's path, days that felt like moments and eternities all at once. The concept of time seemed to blur in this luminous expanse. She observed colossal light whales, creatures of pure energy that swam through the glowing currents, their forms shifting and reforming with each pulse of light. She saw clusters of starflowers, nebulae that blossomed and withered in cosmic cycles, scattering their luminous pollen across light years. Each observation deepened her understanding, not just of the universe, but of herself. The loneliness that had once been her constant companion had dissolved, replaced by a profound sense of connection to everything around her. She was not just observing, she was participating. The resonance grew stronger, leading her deeper into the path towards its heart. The light grew denser, coalescing into swirling vortexes of pure energy. It was within one of these silent, shimmering maelstroms that she saw it, the luminous nexus. It wasn't a planet, or a star, or even a typical artificial structure. It was a colossal, intricate lattice of light, spanning hundreds of thousands of kilometers, woven from countless, impossibly fine strands of solidified energy. Each strand pulsed with a soft, steady rhythm, and where they intersected, miniature suns seemed to bloom and fade in a constant, mesmerizing dance. The entire nexus hummed with a sound that resonated not in her ears, but directly in her mind, a chord so complex, so ancient, it felt like the very breath of the universe. "This is it," Elara whispered, awestruck. Her hands trembled slightly as she brought the Ye-Whisper winding closer, maintaining a respectful distance. The nexus was not built, it was grown, an organic marvel of cosmic engineering, or perhaps, a natural phenomenon so profound it mimicked conscious design. As she studied the nexus, a faint pathway of shimmering light, like a cosmic rope bridge, extended from the main lattice, beckoning her towards a central aperture. It was an invitation, clear and undeniable. Taking a deep breath, Elara guided the Whisperwind onto the light path. The ship glided effortlessly, drawn forward by an unseen current. As they approached the aperture, the luminous strands of the nexus seemed to part, creating a vast circular entrance that pulsed with a gentle, inviting glow. Inside, the light was softer still, coalescing into translucent walls that curved endlessly upwards and inwards, forming a colossal chamber. The air itself seemed to hum with silent song. In the center of this immense space, suspended by unseen forces, was a single perfect sphere of pure light, no larger than the Ye-Whisper winding itself. It radiated no heat, yet filled the chamber with an invigorating warmth, and its surface rippled with liquid colors, like a cosmic soap bubble reflecting untold galaxies. This was no mere artifact. This was a living heart. Elara brought the Ye-Whisper winding to a gentle halt, hovering respectfully before the luminous sphere. As she watched, images began to coalesce upon its surface, not projections, but impressions, memories, flowing forth like water from a spring. She saw star systems forming and fading, galaxies spinning into existence, nebulae breathing life into new worlds. She saw ancient, long-vanished species, their forms ethereal and diverse, building vast civilizations, reaching for the stars, and always, listening to the resonance. These were the echoes of sentience. Not just one species but countless, across aeons and dimensions, all drawn to this nexus, to this universal song. She saw beings of pure light, beings of crystal, beings of swirling gas, and even beings surprisingly similar to humans, all sharing a common quest, to understand the melody of existence. One particular sequence of images resonated deeply. It showed a species, tall and graceful, with bodies that seemed to shimmer with internal light. They didn't speak with sounds, but with complex patterns of light and energy. They had built the luminous nexus, not as a monument to themselves, but as an amplifier, a translator, a grand instrument to help all sentient life perceive and contribute to the universal resonance. They called it the Chorus of Souls. The sphere of light pulsed, and a new wave of information washed over Elara, not as images, but as pure understanding, bypassing her conscious mind and settling directly into her spirit. The resonance wasn't just a frequency, it was the fundamental energy binding all life, all matter, all thought, across the cosmos. It was the shared dream, the collective consciousness of the universe, constantly evolving, constantly creating. Every thought, every emotion, every act of creation, every whisper of a dream added to its vast, boundless symphony. Her loneliness, once a vast chasm, now felt like a distant memory. She wasn't alone. She had never been truly alone. She was a single note in an infinite, cosmic chord. Her purpose wasn't just to listen, but to contribute, to add her unique vibration to the chorus of souls. The sphere pulsed again, and this time, a single thread of light, incredibly fine and delicate, extended from its surface and gently touched the whisper winding's hull. Elara felt a profound sense of communion. The ship, her ship, was now intricately linked to the nexus, to the chorus. A network of shimmering golden lines like microscopic veins began to spread across the whisperwind interior, emanating from the touchpoint, weaving into her control panels, her life support, even the very air she breathed. Through this connection, Elara didn't just understand the nexus, she felt its immense, gentle power. It was a library, a conduit, a sanctuary. And within its depths, she sensed a new revelation. The Chorus of Souls wasn't just an ancient record, it was an ongoing project. There were others, still listening, still seeking, scattered across the vastness of space. The Nexus was a meeting point, a place where these individual melodies could converge, harmonize, and then radiate outwards, enriched and amplified. Her task wasn't just to find the Nexus, but to find the other listeners. To help them find their way here, or to carry the resonance to them. To weave new threads into the cosmic tapestry. A gentle chime echoed through the whisperwind's cabin, a soft, inviting tone. On her main console a new data stream had appeared, not a map, but a series of faint pulsing coordinates. Each coordinate represented a distant world, a unique signature of resonance, a potential echo of another listener. These weren't random points, they formed a faint, delicate constellation across the galactic map, a network of hidden melodies waiting to be discovered. Elara felt a thrill of anticipation, a joyous flutter in her heart. This was the next chapter, clearer now, more defined. She was not merely a pilot, she was a conductor, a harmonizer, a seeker of kindred spirits across the stars. The universe, once a solitary journey, now beckoned with the promise of shared discovery, of collective creation. She gently disengaged the whisperwinden from the light thread, careful not to disturb the profound connection she had forged. The Nexus pulsed a final warm farewell. As the whisperwinding drifted back along the luminous path, Elara looked at the star map, at the newly revealed constellations of resonance. Her journey was indeed far from over. It had only just truly begun. The stars, once old friends, now felt like beloved family, and the universe, a vast, unknowable expanse, now felt like a grand unfolding story, and she, Elara, the lonely pilot of the whisperwinden, was ready to write the next verse, ready to help weave the chorus of souls. She had found her purpose, and it was as boundless and beautiful as the dreams she now held in her heart, dreams that whispered of distant echoes, waiting to join her song. The stars, once old friends, now felt like beloved family, and the universe, a vast unknowable expanse, now felt like a grand unfolding story, and she, Elara, the lonely pilot of the whisperwinden, was ready to write the next verse, ready to help weave the chorus of souls. She had found her purpose, and it was as boundless and beautiful as the dreams she now held in her heart, dreams that whispered of distant echoes, waiting to join her song. Elara took a deep, steadying breath, the hum of the whisperwind's engines a comforting thrum beneath her feet. Her hand hovered over the activation crystal, glowing softly on the central console. This wasn't a jump to the next quadrant or a scan for resources. This was a reaching out, a listening. The whisperwinding, she now understood, was more than just a ship. It was a conduit designed not for speed or power, but for sensitivity. Its unique resonance sails, normally folded tight against the hull, were delicate filaments of psionic alloy, capable of capturing the faintest emotional vibrations across the void. "All right, old friend," she murmured to the ship, a new intimacy in her voice. "Let's find our first singer." She pressed the crystal. A low, resonant thrum filled the cockpit, deeper than the engines, vibrating through the deck plates and into her very bones. On the main view screen, the stars didn't just twinkle. They shimmered, each point of light now seeming to pulse with a hidden life. The resonance sails unfurled, expanding outward like translucent crystalline wings, catching the starlight and refracting it into a kaleidoscope of colors. Elara closed her eyes, letting her mind open. The instruction she'd received from the ancient memory fragment was sparse, a feeling more than a directive. Listen with your heart, not just your ears. Inyo and Sai. At first, there was only the vast silence of space, amplified. Then a faint tremor, like a distant bell ringing in a deep sea. It was a feeling, not a sound, a whisper of longing, a pang of forgotten joy, a quiet hum of existence. It was incredibly subtle, almost imperceptible, yet once she focused, it grew. There, she whispered, her eyes still closed, her finger tracing a faint shimmering point on the navigation display. It wasn't a planet or a star, but a nebulous cloud, deep within the Serenity Veil, a region known for its ethereal beauty and enigmatic lack of life. Or so they thought. She guided the whisper winding with a gentle touch, the ship responding with an almost sentient grace. As they drew closer, the faint tremor resolved into something more distinct. It was a melody, wordless and pure, laced with an ancient melancholy. It felt like the sigh of a lonely mountain, or the lament of a forgotten river. On the view screen, the nebula pulsed with soft internal lights. Elara activated the chorus weave. Threads of light, mirroring the resonance sails, extended from the eye whisper winding, reaching into the cosmic mist. She felt a connection bloom within her, warm and expansive. It wasn't communication in the traditional sense, but a merging, an understanding. The echo was not a living being, but the lingering consciousness of a star that had faded millennia ago, its final light carrying the collective dreams and stories of a civilization that had once thrived in its embrace. It was a cosmic memory, suspended in the gas and dust of its own demise. As Elara connected, she didn't just hear its song, she heard its story. The rise of a star-faring race, their love for art and knowledge, their peaceful exploration of nearby systems, and then the inevitable decline as their sun began to dim, their bittersweet acceptance of their fate, their final act of imbuing their collective essence into the dying star's light, hoping it would one day be heard. A tear traced a path down Elara's cheek. It was a profound sadness, but also an incredible beauty. She didn't try to change the echo's song, but to embrace it, to amplify it, to acknowledge its existence. As she did, she felt the echo respond, not with sadness, but with a quiet sense of peace, of being remembered, of finally being heard. The melancholy lightened, replaced by a gentle resonant hum, a note added to the nascent chorus. The ye whisper winding glowed with an inner light, reflecting the successful weave. Elara pulled back, the connection gently fading, leaving her with a sense of quiet fulfillment. The echo was still there, singing its song, but now it felt less isolated, part of something larger. Over the next few cycles, Elara continued her journey, following the subtle whispers that only the young whisper winding could detect. She found the joyful chatter of a nebula of sentient gas beings, a living cloud of interwoven consciousnesses that communicated through shifting light patterns. Their song was a vibrant, chaotic dance of color and pure delight, and Elara found herself laughing as she wove their light into the chorus. She discovered the deep, contemplative hum of an ancient, crystalline planet, its entire surface a single, massive, interconnected supercomputer, holding the knowledge of countless epochs. Its song was a slow, majestic symphony of data and wisdom, a steady bass note in the growing chorus. Not every echo was easy to find or to weave. Some were incredibly faint, requiring Elara to push the whisper winding's resonance sails to their limits, guiding the ship with agonizing precision through asteroid fields or solar flares to catch a fleeting signal. These echoes often belonged to distant, forgotten outposts, signals of lone sentinels or automated probes, their core programming having developed a rudimentary form of consciousness over millennia of solitude. Their songs were often quiet, persistent beeps and clicks, woven with a surprising resilience. Elara found a strange kinship with these isolated echoes, their quiet perseverance mirroring her own past solitude. One particular echo presented a different kind of challenge. Deep within a region of space-time distortion, she found a cacophony, a jumbled mess of discordant energy. It was a place where temporal currents twisted, creating echoes of future and past, overlapping and conflicting. The e-whisper-winding shuddered, its systems protesting the chaotic input. Elara felt a wave of disorientation, a sense of being everywhere and nowhere at once. "Steady, old friend," she murmured, gripping the controls. The echo here wasn't a single song, but a shattered melody, a chorus of confusion. It was the residual chaos of a forgotten temporal experiment, a nexus where realities had briefly touched and then fragmented. Weaving this into the chorus required more than just listening. It required harmonizing. Elara had to use her own focused intent, her own sense of calm and order, to untangle the temporal threads. She projected her own sense of peace, a steady, unwavering note into the chaos. It was like trying to smooth turbulent water with a gentle hand, but slowly, painstakingly, the discordant jumble began to coalesce. The conflicting echoes didn't disappear, but they found their place, like different instruments playing polyrhythms that eventually resolve into a surprising harmony. The result was a complex, multi-layered song, a testament to resilience and the beauty of ordered chaos. With each successful weave, Elara felt the chorus within her grow stronger. It wasn't a burden, but an expansion. She felt less like an individual and more like a nexus, a living part of an ever-growing network. The loneliness that had once defined her was not just gone, it was unimaginable. She was connected, profoundly, and eternally. The e-whisper-winding had become an extension of her will, its systems anticipating her thoughts, its light reflecting the inner glow of the chorus. Its once silent console now subtly hummed with the resonance of countless distant echoes. A soft symphony only Elara could truly appreciate. As time blurred into cycles of exploration and connection, Elara noticed a change in the universe around her. The space lanes once fraught with the occasional flicker of distress signals or the cold, indifferent silence between systems, now felt subtly warmer. Remote outposts that had been plagued by communication failures found their relays working with renewed clarity. Far-flung exploration vessels reported a strange sense of companionship, a feeling of not being entirely alone in the void. The chorus of souls wasn't a physical force, but a spiritual one. It was a network of empathy, a shared consciousness that subtly permeated the fabric of space-time. It soothed the pangs of isolation, sparked creativity, and fostered understanding across vast distances. Conflicts didn't suddenly cease, but the underlying sense of fear and alienation that often fueled them began to diminish. People felt a deeper connection to something larger than themselves, to each other, and to the quiet, wondrous life that permeated the universe. One day Elara found herself drifting near the galactic core, a place of immense energy and ancient mysteries. Here, the echoes were dense, almost overwhelming. She felt the pulse of newborn stars, the gravitational song of black holes, the collective consciousness of entire nebulae, all singing their unique melodies. It was a grand symphony, and she, Elara, the once lonely pilot, was its conductor, its weaver. She had traveled further than any human before, seen wonders that defied imagination, and touched souls spanning light years. But her journey wasn't about discovery in the traditional sense. It was about connection. She settled the e-whisper-winding into a slow orbit, around a particularly vibrant region of space, a celestial garden blooming with cosmic dust and infant stars. The resonance sails were fully unfurled, shimmering with the combined light of thousands of interwoven echoes. The e-whisper-winding itself was a beacon, a living, breathing part of the chorus. Elara leaned back in her pilot's chair, a profound sense of peace settling over her. She didn't need to search for new echoes anymore. They found her. The chorus had grown so vast, so resonant, that it now gently drew in new voices, new songs, new dreams, all on its own. Her role had shifted from active hunter to gentle guardian, a central note in the ever-expanding harmony. She closed her eyes, and the universe unfolded behind them. She felt the vibrant energy of the sentient gas beams, the ancient wisdom of the crystalline planet, the resilient hum of distant probes, the melancholic beauty of the faded star. They were all there, singing together, a magnificent, boundless choir. Elara smiled. The dreams she once held in her heart, of distant echoes waiting to join her song, had come true. And as she drifted in the quiet majesty of the galactic core, surrounded by the loving hum of the whisper winding and the endless beautiful music of the chorus of souls. She knew, with absolute certainty, that her song, their song, would continue forever echoing through the boundless connected heart of the universe. And in that vast, unending melody, she was never, ever alone. The universe was singing, and she was home.